Hello everyone, welcome back to Biophilia, your all-time study mate. Today we are going to discuss a new chapter about locomotion and movement. If you like this video and get some help, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel Biophilia. So in this chapter, the first part about it is going to be muscles. So muscles, what are they going to do in locomotion and movement? From where do they origin? How many of the muscles are present in a human body? How do they function? Everything is going to be discussed in detail all about muscles. So ये video only for muscles. So let's start understanding about muscles in detail, and in a few minutes you will be getting to know everything about muscles that you need to know at this particular time. So muscles जो होते हैं, these are originated from mesoderm. So those who don't remember what is the term regarding mesoderm, so you might have heard about in embryonic development, there are going to be 3 germ layers. And what are these 3 germ layers? Can you name them? The 3 germ layers are going to be as the ectoderm, which is the outer layer. You have the mesoderm, which is going to be the middle layer, as the name meso, M is for middle. And then the innermost is going to be the endoderm. So now you can relate कि mesoderm जो है वो कौन सी layer है? It is going to be the middle layer of the germ layers. So muscles are going to be made up of the cells that are called as myocytes. So the word myo is referring to the muscle. And what is the meaning for site? Site is the word that is referring to cells. So muscle cells make up the muscles. जैसे neurons are there. As way you have epithelium cells, we say now here you have the myocytes. These are muscle cells that form the entire muscles. So what are the muscles helping you, or how are they helping you? These are allowing you different kinds of movements. Now these movements can be of the internal body parts, or it can be of the external body parts. So if you consider about the internal body parts, you have heart. The heart is going to be made up of muscles, and these muscles are undergoing contraction, and because of the contraction you can hear the heartbeat. So that is one sort of movement. And the external body parts, you can think about your hands. When you are writing, you are moving them. आपके पास पैर है जिससे आप दौड़ सकते हो, walk कर सकते हो. All these are the things that are going to be because of the muscles. So, and what is the reason that you can walk? What is the reason you can move? The reasons you can speak? You're moving, you're smiling, you are, in a way doing some movements. And this is because muscles have 4 important unique properties. और ये कौन से properties है? The properties are contractibility. That means they can contract, they can shrink in their size. These are excitability. That means they can respond to the nerve impulses. Then elasticity, that means जैसे rubber band होता है, rubber band normal size में कुछ ये size का होगा. Once you give it a pull होने पे क्या होगा? It is going to increase in its size. And once you release, what will happen? This is going to come back to the normal size again. So that is nothing but about the story of elasticity. Similar thing is going to happen with muscles as well. So that is the third property. And the last one is extensibility. आपने जब उसको pull किया था, elasticity दी थी, and once elasticity is returning backwards, normal thing. But extensibility, ये जो pull होने के बाद जो increase in size हुआ था, what is it? It is going to be the extensibility. So these are the 4 properties that you need to know about all the muscles. ये सब muscles show करेंगे. It is not that only one muscles, but this will be for all muscles. Now, how many muscles do you have in your body? All muscles यानी कितने हैं? It is going to be 639 muscles total in your body. So this is a lot many number, and once you enter into your MBBS first year, you are going to have all these names of muscles to be remembered. So इतने सारे muscles होते हैं body में that are going to help you for all kinds of internal and external body part movements. So इतने muscles है, तो finally how much weight do they contribute? अब कोई part है body में, it is going to have some or the other weight. So this much amount of muscles is going to contribute about 40 to 50% of the adult body weight. So as many quantity, उसका weight का भी contribution वैसे होगा. So that was a little introduction about the muscles, and now I hope you are interested in some development, and now you can move further to have in detail about muscles. So what are some facts, so that again we can build up some more and more interesting things to know more about muscles. So muscles that are in your human body. So one fact is the biggest muscle is going to be at your buttocks, that is gluteus maximus. That is a fact you can remember. Biggest muscle, you can go and ask your friends about it. Might be they might not be knowing, and you can outshine there. The smallest muscle is going to be musculus stapedius. Now this musculus stapedius is going to be present in your ear. So you can think of inside your ear you have this smallest little muscle that is present in your body. The third fact you can remember, the busiest muscles, पूरे दिन laptop, mobile and whatnot, you are going to keep your eyes busy, and eyes busy, accordingly your muscles of eyes are going to be busy to move your eyeballs. तो eyeball को जैसे locate करना है, वैसे ये muscles have to contract and release to position your eyeball. So these are your busiest muscles. The next one is going to be, once you smile, you are going to use your 17 muscles at a time to smile. और muscles को जब काम करना पड़ता है, you are using energy, you are working out. So workout करना है, best way, keep smiling, because you are using your 17 muscles. The next is going to be, once you have goosebumps, आपको बहुत ठंड लग गई, या you are scared and you get goosebumps, all these goosebumps are going to be because of the contraction of the muscle. Muscle जब relaxed रहेगा, what will happen? The hair are going to be normally on your body, but once the muscle is tensed, you call it the hair stands up, and that is nothing but goosebumps. So जो muscles होंगे at the root of your hair, these are going to get tensed, and because of that the hair is going to rise up, giving you goosebumps. So these were little facts to make you more interested about muscles. So to know more, just keep watching about this muscle video and try to learn more and more facts about them. So now to know more about the muscles, let us know about the structure of it. So structure को पता करने के लिए you have to know that you have to get a cross section so that you can understand the layers of the muscles. So how can you get a cross section? जैसे आपने गाजर को काटा होगा anytime. So गाजर को जब काटते हो, what will be the case? Once you cut it in this way, what is going to happen? You will get round slices. How slices? What kind of slices will you get? You're going to get round slices, and these round slices are nothing but the cross section. तो हमें ये cross section को study करना है. Just as you remove one by one peel of the onion, वैसे ही हमें एक एक करके सारे layers structure को study करना है. So first of all, let us understand that there is going to be a large round cross section that we have achieved. This red one, the outermost layer, is going to be called as the epimysium, which is going to be a connective sheath covering the entire muscle. ये पूरा का पूरा muscle को cover करेगा. Now inside the epimysium, you are going to have bundles, and these bundles are going to be covered by another layer that is called as perimysium. अब bundles है, तो let us arrange them in bundles. So ऐसे bundles में arrange हो गया, and now these bundles will be covered by the perimysium. perimysium को cover कर दिया. अब इनके अंदर कौन है? इनके अंदर present होने वाले हैं muscle fibers. Now these muscle fibers are present all over. In what sort of arrangement? These are surrounded parallel to each other. Very important to remember. How are they? They are parallel to each other. और ये muscle fibers के bundle को क्या बोलोगे? That is covered by the perimysium. The bundle is called as fasciculi. What is it called as? It is called as fasciculi. So you can write it down. Bundle of fibers is equal to fasciculi, and the fasciculi is covered by what? It is covered by the perimysium. अब जो muscle fibers है अंदर, ये कैसे arranged है? It is arranged in parallel manner, but since we have taken a cross section, how will they seem? They will seem to be arranged mostly around circular fashion. But these are muscle fibers which are longer. Because of that, how will they be? They will be in parallel fashion. And now all these muscle fibers are also going to be covered by one more connective tissue that will be called as endomysium. तो white वाले के ऊपर हमने चढ़ा दी और एक green covering of what? Green covering of endomysium. So let us label that as well. The green color labeling is going to be what? It is going to be a connective tissue called as endomysium. So quickly covering all the muscle bundle, सो दैट इज एंडोमाइसियम. अब एंडोमाइसियम के बाद जब ये सारे बंडल्स, अभी तो ये एक एक सिंगल सिंगल बंडल हो गए, अब सिंगल बंडल भी हिल ना जाए उसके लिए भी क्या होगा, दीज विल बी बाउंड वन मोर टाइम by another layer in blue over here, showing this blue coating will be called what? This blue coating of connective tissue is going to be called as fascia. So what can you understand? These are different kinds of, coverings that will be present. The white one is going to be the muscle fiber. So labeling all of them so that you can understand the entire structure of it. So that was all about the structure of muscle. The same thing is written down over here, and you can also understand it through the figure over here. So ये जो muscle को हमने slice out किया है, this after understanding about the muscle fiber, this muscle fiber is going to be long enough. तो वो क्या होगा, मसल फाइबर को बोलने से फिर हम बोल सकते हैं it is going to be a fibril. Okay, and this fibril is again going to have a one more effect. So जब fibril को आप बाहर निकालोगे, what will you see? You will see that there is going to be लाइक दिस, अंदर और भी छोटे छोटे स्ट्रक्चर्स है, और ये छोटे स्ट्रक्चर को भी जब आप बाहर निकालोगे, दैट विल बी कॉल्ड एज अ माइक्रोफिब्रिल. and this microfibril is going to be the smallest most portion that you are going to study in just a few minutes. So this is a muscle which needs to be connected to a bone, or it needs to be connected to a other structure. So once it is going to be connected to a bone, then how is the connection? Connection is going to be because of the tendon. So tendon किसको attach करेगा? Tendon is going to attach the muscle to the bone, right? Bone और muscle को connect कौन करेगा? It is going to attach it by the help of tendon. So this is tendon, which is an inelastic connective tissue. ये tendon elastic नहीं है. That means if you pull it, it can break. So those people who are, under excessive training or excessive gym, in that cases you can have, or you might have heard about कि उनका tendon या ligament break हो जाता है, because these are inelastic. Once you have a lot of pressure on them, these will break. So ऐसे होता है, आपने बहुत ज्यादा रबर बैंड को खींच लिया और रबर बैंड फट से टूट गया. Same thing is going to happen with tendon breaking as well. And because of that, once the bone and muscle are lost their connection, then it starts to pain as you move, because that is going to keep the bone free, and that is not good. So tendon जब break होता है, the connection between the muscle and the bone is lost. Now how is the attachment? One end is going to be fixed, okay, and the other end is going to be attached to the movable part of the bone. Okay, muscle के दो parts होंगे. Suppose if this is the muscle, एक muscle जो होगा, एक end fix होगा to the fixed end, and one end will be attached to the movable part, and because of that the muscles can contract and release and have different kinds of movement. So that was about the tendon. And tendon injury can release to the disintegration of muscle and bone. वैसे और एक term होता है, that is ligament. Now ligament, what does it? Because as tendons are there, we should also know side by side about ligaments. So ligaments are going to be the connective tissues which are going to attach bone to other bone. So जब bone में attachment होगा, that is LBB, you can remember it as LBB. जैसे LLB law होता है, वैसे LBB. So ligaments are going to help you attach bone and bone. So once you know what ligaments does, the opposite thing can be applied to tendon. That is, tendon is going to attach muscle to the bone. So next thing we study is about types of muscle. Structure पता चल गया, अब जैसे structure में कुछ कुछ changes आएंगे वैसे types of muscles बनेंगे. So there are going to be three types of muscle. The first is called as skeletal muscle. Second is called as smooth muscle. Third is the cardiac muscle. So skeletal muscles, you can also call them as voluntary muscles. You can call them as striated muscles. And why? What are the other names? You can call them striated muscles, you can call them voluntary muscles. And why all these names? You will understand it over here. So skeletal muscles को जब आप study करोगे, the structure or the shape of it is going to be cylindrical. They have blunt ends. These are not going to be branched, and the fibers are going to occur in bundles. There are abundant blood supply, along with they are voluntary. Voluntary है, that means you can move them according to your wish. अगर आपको हाथ हिलाना है, that is according to your wish. अगर आपको हाथ नहीं हिलाना है, just stop the movement. That is skeletal muscles. Now, how is the signals going to be supplied? कि आपको हाथ हिलाना है तो इतना हिलाना है, यहीं तक आके रोक देना है. All that is going to be because of the supply of cranial and spinal nerves. Then as per the structure, the intercalated disc is going to be absent. There are going to be many nuclei in a single muscle cell. Because of that, the condition with many nuclei is called as syncytial. There are more abundant mitochondria because वहाँ पे आपको contraction करने के लिए energy source चाहिए. So mitochondria is going to help. Then the abundant amount of myoglobin, there are going to be striations, that means light and dark bands. And because of light and dark bands, what is it going to be called as? It is going to be called as striated muscles. These are going to undergo quick contraction and they can get easily fatigued. इसलिए आपने बहुत ज़्यादा रनिंग की है या बहुत ज़्यादा देर तक आप चल रहे हो, खड़े हो, because of that reason the muscles get fatigued and you start to have pain. So that muscle pain is going to be because of the fatigue in the skeletal muscles. Now other thing is going to be smooth muscles. So smooth muscles जो होते हैं, these are going to appear to be spindle shaped. So spindle shaped है यानी the center is going to be bulgy but the ends are going to be tapered. That is a spindle shaped cell. So this spindle shape, that is tapering ends, it will be unbranched fiber and it is going to occur singly or in sheets or in bundles, so it depends. And smooth muscles have a very poor blood supply. These are involuntary, yani these are not under your control. These are going to be innervated, that means the nerve supply. What is innervated? Innervated means nerve supply. So nerve supply is going to be from the autonomic nervous system. These do not have intercalated disc. So here you can understand that the intercalated disc is only present in the cardiac muscle. So the comparison is going to be because कि आपको सब एक ही जगह पे जब मिल जाता है, that is going to help you to correlate with all the three types of muscle and think about the MCQs. So MCQ एक ये हो सकता है, intercalated disc किसमें present है? It is in the cardiac muscles, right? And you can think of one more difference about all three that is distinguished, that is skeletal muscles and smooth muscles are unbranched, whereas cardiac muscles are going to be branched. So again, this can be an important MCQ, right? Then let's understand about smooth muscles. Continuing, there is going to be uninucleate, only one nucleus in the center approximately. But in skeletal muscles क्या होगा? Skeletal muscles, it is a multinucleate condition. So a differentiation point, that is MCQ of it. Then smooth muscles have fewer mitochondria. Because of that, there is going to be lesser amount of myoglobin. Striations are absent. So again, a very important point, because striations are completely absent in smooth muscles, and that is the reason they are called as smooth. They don't have any light and dark bands. Then these are going to contract slowly, and because of slow contraction, these do not undergo fatigue. यानी स्मूथ मसल्स ज्यादातर they don't seem to be painful. और स्मूथ मसल्स जनरली कहाँ होंगे? स्मूथ मसल्स are going to be, for example, in your GI tract. So GI tract में once you have peristalsis, that is the food that is going out through your esophagus. So anytime do you feel that your esophagus muscles are paining, You won't feel that. Why? Because it is made up of smooth muscles that are contracting slowly and they do not get fatigue. We say now speaking about heart muscles are cylindrical in shape. They have blunt ends with branched fibers forming a 3D network. Or cardiac muscles है. Cardiac is the word that is related to what? It is related to the heart. And heart में तो of course you can understand a lot of blood. So it is rich in blood supply. दिस इज अगेन इनवॉल्यूंटरी. आप ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते हार्ट प्लीज 5 मिनट रुक जाना, थोड़ी देर बाद धड़कना. इफ दैट हैपेंस you are going to die. So that is the thing. It is not under your control. It is involuntary, innervated. As I told you, it is the nerve supply by the autonomic nervous system. Interconnected disc is present. It is uninucleate, only one nucleus. Mitochondria are absent. There is abundant myoglobin. What is myoglobin, you might ask? Myoglobin जो होता है, it is similar to hemoglobin. What does the hemoglobin do? Similar work is about myoglobin. Myo word, as I told you, myo is related to what? Myo is related to muscles. So the hemoglobin substitute that is present in muscles is called as myoglobin. So the muscles are going to have faint striations, ना के बराबर होंगे, but if you closely monitor it, you are going to see some of them. These are going to show rhythmic contractions. Because of that, you can hear the heartbeat in rhythm. So these are rhythmic contractions and they are going to never fatigue. Heart is never going to fatigue. It is going to beat until you die. So starting to end, these are never going to stop. If they stop, you are dead. So these do not fatigue anytime and these will keep on contracting and relaxing until they are dead. So that was about the three types of muscle in detail, and you can go through the images as well, how do they look, and that will give you a better idea about their differences. The next we see is the type of fibers. So fibers may there are going to be two types, that is red muscle fibers and the white muscle fibers. So red and white, on what basis do you differentiate them? So first of all, red muscle fibers are comparatively smaller in diameter, whereas the white muscle fibers are going to be having larger diameter. The red muscle fibers are going to be dark red in color. And why they are dark red? Because they have a hemoprotein, that is myoglobin. So we have heard about myoglobin in the previous one as well. So myoglobin, just like hemoglobin, is going to bind and store oxygen, and this is going to release oxygen कि muscle contraction में use हो सके. So that is the function of myoglobin. So myoglobin ज़्यादा होने की वजह से the muscle fibers are going to appear dark red, whereas जब myoglobin का quantity कम होगा, then it is going to be lighter in color, and compared it is lighter. In biology you call it a white muscle fiber. Mitochondria ज़्यादा होंगे because as I told you, myoglobin is more. Myoglobin is more, that means oxygen supply is more, और oxygen supply जब ज़्यादा होता है, what is going to be the case? There is going to be much more energy use, और energy use हो रहा है, ATP needs to come into action, and for ATP you need mitochondria. And what about the muscle fibers having its blood supply? तो यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा blood supply होगा because myoglobin is there. Oxygen needs to bind, but oxygen bind करने के लिए oxygen की supply भी होना चाहिए. So there are going to be many more blood vessels. There is less sarcoplasmic reticulum. There is going to be aerobic oxidation because here you are having abundant amount of oxygen supply. Oxygen supply की कमी नहीं है, oxygen बहुत ज़्यादा है, and because of that they can contract for a longer period without accumulating lactic acid. और lactic acid जब तक accumulate नहीं होगा, there is no fatigue observed. So because of that, red muscle fibers जहाँ पे भी होंगे वहाँ पे slow rate of contraction होगा and for longer periods. And such examples can be seen in extensor muscles of human back or even in the flight muscles of kite. So human back, आप बहुत देर तक 8 घंटे 10 घंटे आप खड़े रह सकते हो, but आपके पैर दर्द करेंगे, but your back is not going to be aching until and unless you don't have a proper posture. So comparatively human back कम दर्द करेगी and compared to your eyeball muscles, because eyeball muscles are going to be the muscles that come under the white muscle fibers. Or in the case of birds, you can think of kites. So kites are the birds which are going to have more amount of red muscle fibers. जिसकी वजह से they can go long distances flying without getting tired. Whereas अगर आपने स्पैरो को देखा होगा, स्पैरो doesn't fly long distances from one tree to leaving 2-3 trees. She'll go and rest for some time and again fly. Why is the difference? Because of the different arrangement of muscle fibers. एक में red है, एक में white है, and the fatigue levels are different. So white muscle fibers, since they have lesser amount of myoglobin, oxygen quantity binding करने के लिए कम है, energy required is less. Because of that, mitochondria are less, lesser blood supplies, they have more sarcoplasmic reticulum, and since the oxygen content reaching there is lesser, what will be the case? There is anaerobic oxidation. That means because of anaerobic, that is lesser amount of oxygen, there is going to be accumulation of lactic acid. और lactic acid जब बहुत ज़्यादा amount में accumulate हो जाता है, the muscles are going to get fatigue. आपको पेन होना शुरू हो जाएगा, muscles थक जाएंगे, and once they are undergoing fast rate of contractions for a shorter period of time, they get fatigued easier. So जैसे eyeball muscles है, eyeball movement बहुत जल्दी जल्दी होती है. Why? Because these are going to be occurring at a fast rate but for short period. थोड़ी देर के बाद आप आंखें blink करोगे, या you are going to go for a rest, a quick nap. जो quick nap वगैरह है, why do you need it? Because your muscles of eye are going to get tired. This is a strenuous activity, and because of that they need a short period of sleep so that they can relax till the time, and then again your eyeball muscles can continuously work again for some period of time. So that was about the different types of fibers. So I hope you understood the types of muscles and you also understood the types of fibers. The next we see is the ultrastructure of striated muscles. So ultrastructure of striated muscles में क्या होगा? There is going to be muscle fiber which is connected by plasma membrane that is called as sarcolemma. So very important to understand कि जो normal cells में, the other cells that you might have studied, they have a plasma membrane. So the plasma membrane over here has a special name. Muscles have special, so a special name to them, that is plasma membrane. So you can just note it down as कि sarcolemma is nothing but plasma membrane of myocytes, or you can think of the muscle cells. So this sarcolemma is going to enclose a sarcoplasm. जैसे cytoplasm होता है, similarly there is going to be sarcoplasm, and that is going to continue to have many nuclei. Many nuclei को condition को क्या बोलते हैं? You call it the syncytium. What do you call it? You call it the syncytium. Many nuclei in a single cell, syncytium condition. So the other structures that you need to see, that the muscle fibers are arranged in the parallel fashion. हमने ये structure में भी देखा था, and these are going to have alternate light and dark bands. And what do you call this alternate light and dark bands? You call it striations. Right? You have heard this term just now, we had discussed. These are called as striations, and these striations are greatly present in the skeletal muscles. So striated muscles क्या है? These are nothing but your skeletal muscles. So skeletal muscles, one more name for them, that is the voluntary muscles, and over these you are also going to have the T tubules which are going to be formed over the myofibrils just like a curtain. So that was about the ultrastructure. Now we see, जैसे हमने अभी देखा था, that there are light and dark bands. So what is the reason for light and dark bands, and how is it different? So light and dark bands are going to be present because of the thick myofilament and the thin myofilament. So thick myofilament or thin myofilament में क्या differences होते हैं? These are listed down over here. So some might be understood to you, but some might take a time. Just few more minutes and you will understand those in detail as well. So thick myofilament में it is going to be composed of myosin protein. Now what is this protein and how is it different? All will be understood in detail. Just have patience. Till the end of the video, each and every term will be clear to you. So thick myofilament may just remember till now it is a myosin protein content. It is found in A band. Now again question, what is A band? Have patience, you will understand it in detail. So now just not every time telling you, go through these and once on for all you will understand all the terms. You can rewind back and you can go through these differences again. That will help you to understand in much more detail. So without wasting time, first understand the concept and then come back to this particular point, and you can read out all these and it will help you to understand the difference between the thick myofilament and the thin myofilament. So here we are going to understand about what are A band, I band, H band, क्या था ये सब नाम बड़े confusing थे. Now everything is going to get clear. So here is a color coded diagram and labeling and all about the definitions. So once you have your black and white image of the muscle fibers, here you can see that here is a skeletal muscle. So skeletal muscle है, these are going to have light bands and dark bands. So light bands जो होंगे, these are occurring comparatively whitish, and the dark bands are going to be comparatively grey or blackish in color. So what can you say from it? That these in the center are going to be your light bands and over here are your dark bands, right? So what are these light and dark bands? How are they different? And what can you see in this center? What can you see here? How are they different? Everything is shown over here. So first understand that there are going to be lines that are called as Z lines. So can you see the lines over here in purple? These are the boundary lines. Okay, these boundary lines are called as Z lines. Or Z lines को color code में देखो तो point number 5. What are Z lines? These are the light eye bands consisting of a dark line. कैसे है? एक dark line है. So here if you can notice, what are we going to see? Here I am trying to highlight it more better in a better dark way. वो क्या है? This is nothing but we are speaking now, that is the Z line. ये Z line जो है, it is marking you to understand that it is a part of a single sarcomere. So very important to understand कि दो Z lines के बीच का जो part होता है, what is it? It is one sarcomere, and this one sarcomere is a single unit, the smallest unit. What is sarcomere? Sarcomere is going to be the smallest unit of the muscle fiber. So that is its importance. और sarcomere किसको बोलते हैं? The part between the two successive Z lines. So एक Z line यहाँ पे भी है, the first Z line, second Z line यहाँ पे है और third Z line एक यहाँ पे कोने में भी है. But what Z lines are going to be calculated for the sarcomere? It is going to be successive, यानी 1 और 2 के बीच के part को ही you will call the sarcomere. So Z line is clear to everyone. Moving to the next part, that is called as the M line. M line is nothing but the white dotted line shown over here in the color coded figure is going to be the M line, and this M line is nothing but shortened to be the middle line. So a dark gray line bhi dikhegi over here, so trying to highlight it over here with the white one. So this white over here in the black and white photo, usko kya bologe? The M line. M line you can see over here as well, you can see over here as well. So here we have 3 M lines, and these M lines are going to go through the center of the H band. H band किसको बोलते हैं? Wait for a few minutes, we'll understand that as well. So M line can go through the center of the H band. You can also see it is going through the center of the sarcomere as well. Now we come to the next part, that is the A band. अब A band किसको बोलते हैं? A band is going to be shortened to the anisotropic band. A को क्या है? A is nothing but the anisotropic band. And where is the anisotropic band? It is the dark band. So if you can see over here that there are going to be some dark regions present in the sarcomere. और ये जो डार्क रीजन्स है बिटवीन द लाइटर रीजन्स, इफ यू कैन सी, यहाँ पे लाइटर रीजन्स है. These lighter regions and the darker regions are nothing but the A band and the I band. So A band over here is demonstrated by the blue color, whereas the I band is represented by the green color. So I band, isotropic band, A band and isotropic band. So अभी dark band, light band हमने अभी discuss किया था about the thick myofilament and the thin myofilament. So thick myofilament किससे बना हुआ होता है? Thick myofilament is made up of myosin protein. So myosin protein is nothing but the red color shown over here. So red color से जो show किया है, what is it? It is the thick band. So thick band is nothing but made up of myosin protein shown over here in the red, and the yellow colored one is actin filament. So actin, where is it present? Actin is present in the thin myofilament. Okay, where is it present? It is present in the thin myofilament. So through the color coding, the size, you can understand the red one is thick, made up of myosin, yellow one is the thin, made up of actin. अब जब दो एक्टिन फिलामेंट्स के बीच का जो गैप होगा, it is called as the H zone. So can you locate the H zone over here? H zone या H band, or also called as Hansen's zone. Where is it present? It is present in between of the A band. Dark A band के center में होगा, and its start and end point is going to be from where? Between the two actin filaments horizontally. So that is about the H zone. And one more zone that you need to know, that is the A band. I band कहाँ होगा? I band is going to be the region that is making up the light band. That is जहाँ पे actin है, that is the thin myofilament, वहाँ पे is called the I band. So I band shown in green. So here you should also think about one thing. So if you can see up here in the black and white diagram, what can you notice over here? You can see that there is going to be a Z line over here. यहाँ पे एक Z line आ गया. Okay, between the two Z lines, successive ones, you have the sarcomere that is noted to you. Now, in the sarcomere, you can see that there is going to be the light patch, okay, highlighting over here with say different color. So यहाँ पे एक green color से जो mark किया है, ये green color से क्या है? This is your I band, right? This is your thin myofilament. Over here also, what do you see? Here also you see the green colored part, that is your I band. But rest of the I band you can see behind the Z line as well. अब ये Z line के पीछे भी एक light white colorish है. ये क्या चीज है? This is nothing but also the I band. ये दोनों भी green जो है, all the two greens are nothing but the I band only. But ये दो I band के बीच में से there is going to be a Z line, and because of that reason, in the definition, what do you write? That Z line is going to be in the light I band region, and a dark line is going to pass through the light I band region. That is nothing but your Z line. So I hope you understood the definition of Z line. Why do you call it? Because it is going to go through the center of it, right? लेफ्ट साइड पे भी आई बैंड है, राइट साइड पे भी आई बैंड है, और सेंटर में से एक डार्क लाइन जाएगी, दैट इज नथिंग बट योर जेड लाइन. सो व्हाट कैन यू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम हियर इज व्हाट मेक्स अप वन सार्कोमियर. अगर एक सार्कोमियर बनाना है, व्हाट कैन यू यू नो व्हाट कैन बी द स्ट्रक्चर्स दैट आर प्रेजेंट इन इट. सो यू आर गोइंग टू हैव, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू विल हैव अ हाफ ऑफ आई बैंड. यहाँ पे एक हाफ आई बैंड हो गया. हाफ आई बैंड के बाद you will have one complete A band. Okay, एक full A band हो गया. Again you are going to have rest of the half I band. So half I band plus one A band along with another rest of the half I band, you can call it that it is an entire sarcomere. So if you combine these two half and half, again you are going to get one complete I band. So that is nothing but about the sarcomere and different parts of the sarcomere. You are also going to see one more structure labeled over here, that is cross bridges. So what are these cross bridges? You will understand in a few moments later. But just for now, you remember the arrangement of the cross bridges. So that will help you to correlate once you get the term again in this video. So moving ahead to understand in detail about the contractile proteins. So अभी हमने बहुत सारे proteins की बात की, like myosin, actin, and what all these were. So let us understand the structure of these, that will help you to know more about them. So thick filament जो हमने देखा था, that was made up of what protein? It is made up of myosin protein. Now what is myosin protein? It is a polymerized protein, and the monomeric form is going to be called as meromyosin. So meromyosin, it is a single part, और जब इसको बहुत सारे arrangements में आप cover कर लोगे, what it will be called as? It will be called a polymeric form of, that is myosin protein. Now each meromyosin, that is one single part of it, is going to have a globular head. So here you can see the diagram of it, how is it going to be present. So it has a globular head. Along with the globular head, there is going to be a short neck, and below the short neck, there is going to be short arm and a tail. So ये जो tail है, you can see that this part is nothing but the tail of it. And how is it going to be? This entire is one single meromyosin. What are we studying over here? You are seeing a single unit of myosin protein, that is the meromyosin. So meromyosin में एक head होगी, एक short arm होगा, that is the neck, and the tail. Now globular head along with the short arm. So instead of to confuse you with the term neck, let us use the short arm only. So the head and the short arm together is going to be called the cross arm. So इसके पहले जो हमने देखा था, the cross bridge. So cross bridges are nothing but the connection of this cross arm to the actin filament, that is going to form the cross bridges. So now you know what are cross arms. Cross arms are nothing but the head and the short arm region combinedly called as short arm. The cross arm is going to made up of heavy meromyosin. So here you can see in the photograph as well, जो head और जो short arm structure है वो कैसा है, वो bulky है. It is very heavy to look. That is the heavy meromyosin, HMM. Whereas the tail region is going to be called as LMM, that is light meromyosin. अब जो head region होता है, head region में you are going to find two sites. One is for actin binding. So actin एक another contractile protein है that you can find in the thin filaments, and one more is going to be ATP binding sites. And why do you need ATP? ATP is needed to release energy. So यहाँ पे आके ATP बैठेगा and that will provide energy for the contraction. So that is the two sites, that is actin binding site and ATP binding site, present where it is present on the globular head of the meromyosin. So that was about the thick filament making from the myosin. Then we see the thin filament. Thin filament may you are going to have three proteins. These three contractile proteins are having names as actin. The other is called as tropomyosin and the troponin. अब actin जो होता है, actin protein के two forms होते हैं. What are the two forms of actin? Two forms of actin protein are going to be one, that is the monomeric G actin. Monomeric है यानी single है, that is the monomeric G actin. Very important to understand, उसको क्या नाम है? G actin, right? The second part of it is called as polymeric form. So ये polymeric है, बहुत सारे लड्डुओं को एक साथ एक लाइन में लगा दिया. What will you call this structure? This structure is going to be called as your what? Polymeric F actin. So एक था the monomeric G actin, अब ये हो गया है polymeric F actin. So अब ये polymeric G actin से polymeric F actin की जर्नी कैसे तय की? It is going to be because of presence of magnesium ions. So magnesium जब तक present है, the monomeric form can be converted into the polymeric F actin. So one thing that you need to know about the structure of actin. Next we see the contractile protein in the thin filament, that is tropomyosin. So tropomyosin is going to be a fibrous molecule. So actin कैसा है? Actin is going to be globular protein, वो लड्डू जैसा है. It is a low molecular weight protein. Whereas tropomyosin जो है वो noodles जैसा है. It is fibrous molecule along with two fibers running close to and in the resting state it is going to separate. What is it? Function to separate actin and myosin, so that actin and myosin जब एक साथ नहीं आएंगे, there will be no cross bridge formation, और cross bridge formation नहीं होगा, then it is going to prevent contraction of the muscle fibers. So जब आपको contraction नहीं चाहिए, when you don't want to move your hand, you are relaxing, you are sleeping, at that time tropomyosin will take care that actin and myosin do not come to each other. एक्टिन और मायोसिन को दूर रखना है, दोनों अगर पास में आ गए तो झगड़ा हो जाएगा. कौन दूर रखेगा? Tropomyosin. Another third contractile protein in the thin filament is the troponin. The troponin is going to be present in regular intervals. जैसे थोड़े थोड़े टाइम में you are going to see something or other, that is nothing but the troponin. हर जगह पे थोड़े थोड़े टाइम में आपको दिखेगा. So this troponin is going to be made up of the three other things. So there are three units in the troponin. Troponin I होता है, troponin T होता है, and troponin C होता है. So what is the troponin I going to do? As the I is for inhibit. So ये किसको inhibit करेगा? It is going to inhibit the action of actin and myosin. So जैसे tropomyosin का काम है, वैसे ये भी क्या करेगा? एक्टिन और मायोसिन को साथ में आने की परमिशन नहीं देगा. द टी troponin T is going to be for what? T is regarding the tropomyosin. So here you are going to have a binding site for what? T से क्या है? T से है tropomyosin. So binding site for tropomyosin is nothing but over here on the T troponin. Whereas C से क्या है? C is the binding site for calcium. So now with this, I hope it will be clearer to you that I is for inhibit. I inhibit what? Actin and myosin coming together. T is for tropomyosin, so binding site of tropomyosin, and troponin C is binding site for calcium. Now, what is the use of calcium? Why do you need calcium in contraction? Is all to be discussed in a few minutes later. So, यहाँ पे if you can understand the structure of the thin filament, then you are going to see यहाँ पे green colored के globular proteins हैं. These polymerized F actins are going to be present. अब ये F actin जो है, this F actin is going to run along parallelly with the second type of protein, that is fibrous protein tropomyosin. So यहाँ पे tropomyosin भी है, and some at regular intervals you are also going to see the presence of troponin with its three units, that is troponin I, T and C. So ITC company है, so you can remember it as that way. ITC company है, that is the same way ITC is going to be present in the troponin. So that is the entire structure to understand about the thin filament contractile proteins and the thick filament contractile proteins. Moving ahead to understand a small topic about motor unit. Motor unit क्या होता है? As I have told you that muscles have a property of the excitability. These can react to the nerve impulses. But ये nerve impulses को react करने के लिए nerve impulses वहाँ तक पहुँचने भी चाहिए. And how are they going to innervate, or how are they going to supply? That is going to be the case of motor unit. So when the neurons are going to innervate, that is supply nerves to the nerve or to the muscles, these are going to be using a motor neuron. So मोटर न्यूरॉन जो होता है वहाँ पे एक मोटर यूनिट सेट करेगा, और मोटर यूनिट में क्या होता है? मोटर यूनिट में you are going to have a single motor neuron, and you are going to have the muscle fiber which is going to get innervated. यानी एक न्यूरॉन होगा, ये न्यूरॉन के पास डेंड्राइट्स है, एक्सॉन है, एक एक्सॉन क्या करेगा? एक एक्सॉन आके एक मसल फाइबर को इनर्वेट करेगा. दैट इज द मोटर यूनिट, यानी एक न्यूरॉन एक मसल फाइबर, नॉट एनीथिंग मोर देन इट. ये सिंगल मोटर यूनिट है. अगर दो मोटर यूनिट होंगे तो क्या होगा? अगेन देयर इज गोइंग टू बी वन मोर इनर्वेशन, वन मोर न्यूरॉन, वन मोर मसल, that is going to be making up your two motor units. So simple thing to understand what is a motor unit. एक न्यूरॉन जैसे दूसरे न्यूरॉन तक कनेक्शन देता है. So instead of two neurons getting connected, that is synapse, one neuron and one muscle fiber is nothing but one motor neuron, and one muscle is going to be containing the motor unit. Another short topic is going to be neuromuscular junction. Now why these are kept together? Because you should understand कि जब न्यूरॉन मोटर न्यूरॉन आ रहा है, this motor neuron is going to have its axons, and axons के बाद होगा axon terminals. Now these axon terminals are going to go near to what? These are going to go nearer to the muscle fiber. Now to the near muscle fiber, once you try to zoom this condition, what do you see? You see there is going to be neuromuscular junction. So the junction between the nerve and the muscle fiber is called as neuromuscular junction. So ये single part को जब आप zoom करोगे, you will find the neuromuscular junction. But the entire thing over here that we are understanding, this is what? This is one motor unit. Right, motor unit का एक part होगा, that is neuromuscular junction. So the difference between the two needs to be understood so that they are placed together over here. The next we need to see, that is the mechanism of muscle contraction. So muscle contraction जब होता है, that is going to allow you to move. So muscle contraction is an important topic that needs to be understood in detail. So it is very simple to understand. A simple concept was used for the mechanism of muscle contraction, and that theory is explained as the sliding filament theory. So sliding filament theory क्या होता है? Here you can see in the GIF. So just casually arrange and see about how the sliding filament theory is happening. So क्या हो रहा है? सबसे पहले the globular heads are going to attach to what? It is attaching to the actin. So this is not exactly actin, you can say it is attaching to the thin filament. What is attaching? The heads are attaching. The heads which are attaching to the thin filaments, the heads are going to move, and these movement is going to cause the sliding effect. So this is nothing but the sliding filament theory. वो pull नहीं हो रही है, it is just getting slide. जैसे आपने कभी try किया होगा, या if you might have seen in some science show, what do? They have a table. टेबल के ऊपर बहुत सारा सामान रख देते हैं, and what do? They try to pull the cloth pull करने बोलते हैं, and rest of the things are going to stay at their own place. So this is nothing but the same thing that happens over here, that is the sliding filament theory. बाकी चीजें सारे स्टेबल है. Only thing that is moving or sliding is what? The filament, that is thin filament, is moving forward during the contraction of muscle. So this theory was proposed by two group of workers, and that was about in 1954. And according to this theory, that when the muscle contraction is occurring, it is only occurring in the thin filament. So thin filament में जो भी होना है, it is going to occur over here. And the contraction is going to, when it's occurring in the thin filament, the actin filament, that is the thin filament, is going to slide over the thick filament. So here you can see the myosin is present. Myosin क्या बनाता है? Myosin is going to form the thick filament. So thin filament किसके ऊपर जाएगी? Thick filament के ऊपर slide करेगी. So this is just an introduction, but how exactly this process is occurring, that looks simple, but many steps are going to go along to understand the entire muscle contraction. So let's get to the steps so that we can understand the simple looking sliding filament theory. So how is it going to occur? One by one the steps are going to be understood. So सबसे पहले क्या होगा? We had understood that there is going to be a motor neuron. ये मोटर न्यूरॉन जो होगा वो अपना एक्सॉन सेंड करेगा, और एक्सॉन जब सेंड करेगा वो कहाँ पहुंचेगा? देयर इज गोइंग टू बी टू द मसल फाइबर तक पहुंचेगा. और यहाँ पे क्या होगा? जो मोटर न्यूरॉन आ रहा है, मोटर न्यूरॉन कहाँ से, फ्रॉम वेयर इज द मोटर न्यूरॉन कमिंग? Motor neuron is coming from the CNS, that is the central nervous system. Central nervous system से जैसे ही ये motor neuron आएगा, it is going to reach to the neuromuscular junction. And how is the motor neuron reaching? Not exactly the motor neuron is reaching. What is reaching? The impulse is reaching. and once it reaches to the neuromuscular junction, you know what the term means. So neuromuscular junction पे जैसे ही पहुंचेगा, there are going to be vessels that contain neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters are nothing but messengers. जैसे एक किंगडम में से दूसरे किंगडम में जब आप पहले के जमाने में जब बात हुआ होती थी, वहां पे दूत होते थे, right? There used to be messengers. So these messengers are nothing but neurotransmitters. So once the impulse reaches the neuromuscular junction, यानी यहाँ पे एक किंगडम A है, यहाँ पे एक किंगडम B है. This is your neuron, this is your muscle. These are two different entities. So there the neuromuscular junction के यहाँ पे junction है. This cannot enter over here, but who can enter? Neuromuscular junction say the neurotransmitters, the messengers can go through the space, and one of the neurotransmitter is going to be acetyl. So acetylcholine is going to be an important neurotransmitter which can go through the synaptic cleft and it can produce action potential. So action potential generate करने की capability को what do you call it? You call it excitability. So this is once the action potential is generated in the muscle fiber, what is going to happen next? The action potential will be spreaded all over the sarcolemma. Sarcolemma क्या है? It is going to be the plasma membrane of the muscle cell. So पूरे के पूरे प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन के ऊपर सिग्नल पहुंच चुका है कि अभी हमें क्या करना है? We have to contract. So during contraction, what will happen? As soon as the action potential signal has been circulated by the acetylcholine neurotransmitter, ये sarcolemma से कहाँ पहुंचेगा? T tubules पे पहुंचेगा. What are T tubules? As the T tubules, you can understand that these T tubules are nothing but your endoplasmic reticulum. जैसे हमने we have seen about reticulum. What is it? It is going to be another name. So we have plasma membrane. You have the name here, that is sarcolemma. वैसे ही endoplasmic reticulum को you have the name T tubules, and these T tubules are going to store what? These are going to store calcium ions. So जैसे ही signal पहुंचेगा to the T tubules, these are going to release the release calcium ions, और calcium ions जैसे ही release होंगे into the sarcoplasm, that is the cytoplasm of the cells. Sarcoplasm में जैसे ही calciums are released, what will happen? Calciums released, where are the calciums going to go? Calciums are going to go to their favorite site. Calciums getting attracted to the site. What site? These are getting attracted to the troponin C. So if you remember, we have seen about troponin C, which is a contractile protein in the thin filament. Troponin C has a binding site for calcium ions. So troponin C के पास जाके कौन अटैच हो जाएगा? Troponin C पे अटैच हो जाएगा calcium, और जैसे ही troponin C पे calcium अटैच हो जाएगा, because of that there is going to be changes in the shape of the protein. अब वहां पे troponin जो था, that was allowing, जैसे वो 3 units थे, right? If you remember, there were 3 units. एक unit था troponin T, so yellow one is the T. Then there was a thing that was called as troponin C, जहाँ पे calcium bind होने का था, and there was one more thing that was troponin I, that was inhibiting. अब ये तीनों ऐसे थे. अब क्या हो गया? जैसे ही सराउंडिंग में कैल्शियम आया, अब ये तीन साथ में बंधे हुए थे, बट जैसे ही कैल्शियम आया, what happened? The troponin C got distracted, and because of distraction, the troponin C and calcium had a friendship bond, और उसकी वजह से क्या हो गया? ये खींचा चला गया towards calcium, and the bond between these 3 subunits got detached, and because of that, what happened? The entire structure changed shape. So shape change में क्या हो गया? The shape change caused the inhibitory troponin, that is troponin I जो था, ये I ने अपनी side जो inhibit कर रहा था, what? It was inhibiting the actin plus myosin को वो inhibit कर रहा था before the shape change. But after the shape change, what happened? the troponin I got misplaced from its position, and because of that now the site on the site of the head, globular head के ऊपर क्या था, globular head पे you had a site called as actin binding site. क्या था वहाँ पे, actin binding site था. So actin binding site on the globular head and the actin, they both got attached to each other, and as they got attached there was one more site on the globular head called as ATP binding site. So ATP binding site पे ATP, that is energy rich molecule, came and got attached, and as the ATP got attached to it, the ATPase enzyme got released energy, और जैसे ही head को energy मिली, what happened, the sliding filament, that is formation of cross bridge occurred, और जैसे ही cross bridge होगा, what will happen, imagine you have your fist. अब ये जो फिस्ट है आपकी, ये फिस्ट पर क्या है, यू गॉट अ लॉट ऑफ एनर्जी, आपने बहुत जोर से मुक्का मारा और अपने बेडशीट के ऊपर जाके टकराया अपने फिस्ट को. So bedsheet was very thin. What happened? This thin bedsheet got the entire power of your fist, और ये fist was nothing but your globular head. So globular head और बेडशीट जाके एक दूसरे से टकराई, that is myosin head and the actin got attached to each other at a very large force, because यहाँ पे किसने एनर्जी दी थी, ATP ने एनर्जी दी थी, but energy will last for a shorter period of time. धीरे धीरे जैसे आपने बहुत जोर से बॉल कैच की, राइट, whenever a bowler catches a forceful ball, what happens, the hand is going to go backwards. Similar case will happen कि जैसे ही एनर्जी से बहुत जोर से आपने ये ग्लोबुलर हेड को अटैच किया टू द एक्टिन, that is going to slide away the actin. और वो एनर्जी कहाँ पास होगी, from the globular head it will pass into this direction, and because of that the actin is going to slide over the thick filament. This is nothing but the entire story from the impulse reaching to the neuromuscular junction, the release of calcium, and then how the shape change of the troponin occurs, leaving the binding sites open, और जैसे ही binding sites open हो जाएंगे, ATP is going to be attached, energy will be sourced, and then the globular head and actin are not stopping each other, वो क्रॉस ब्रिज बनाएंगे, और क्रॉस ब्रिज जैसे ही बनेगा, there is going to be sliding filament theory occurring, and that is nothing but the contraction of muscles. So you can see different kinds of videos wherein you can see the actual formation of cross bridge formation, the sliding filament. So I had shown you one a little GIF, you can just rewind the video and see that again, that how the cross bridge are formed and how the actin just slides over the thick filament. So you can see many more videos regarding how the things occur, and that might help you to understand the entire structure that is occurring over here in the muscle contraction. So entire thing, ये muscle contraction जो हो रहा था, यहाँ पे we were speaking about the thin filament, the thick filament. One thing that we did not discuss, that whenever contraction is occurring, contraction में चीजें छोटी हो जाती है. So what things in the ultrastructure are going to change during contraction? So जब भी contraction हो रहा है, contractions of the muscles are going to do what? First of all, the changes will occur in the sarcomere. Sarcomere that was present between the two Z lines. So those Z lines के बीच का जो sarcomere होता है, the sarcomere is going to shorten, and as the sarcomere shortens, what will happen? Z lines are coming closer. So these come closer, and once they come closer, what will happen? The H zone, now you can remember about what the H zone was. The H zone is going to narrow, it will shorten. H zone is shortening, along with it the I band is going to also reduce. And one very important thing that does not easily come to you understanding, that is A band. What happens to the A band? A band is same, there is no change, nothing happens to the A band, because A band क्या है, A band is your thick band. Thick band में there are no changes, because the thin filament is going to slide over the thick thick filament को कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है. It is the way it was earlier. So this is a very important MCQ that you need to understand, that there are no changes in A band. Whatever happens are going to happen to the sarcomere, the Z lines, the H zone, and the I band. So that is the thing that you need to understand, the changes that occur once there are muscle contractions. So that was all the things in detail to understand about the muscle contractions. So with this, we come to the end to understand everything in detail about muscles that you need to know in this chapter for class 11. So हमने पहले सबसे पहले देखा what are muscles, where are they present, how are they origin, then some facts about muscles, the types of muscle fibers, and what not we studied today. So it was a very long time to understand about muscles, but I hope this long video helped you to understand muscles in detail and nothing was left out to understand in this chapter regarding muscles. So next video will be about some bones. So अगर आपको muscles की video अच्छी लगी है, if you got to know more about muscles, then stay tuned to Biophilia to know more about bones as we discussed in detail about muscles. So till we come back soon with the next part of this chapter, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel. If it helps, then do share to your friends as well. And till we come back next, keep studying, keep smiling. Bye bye everyone. Thank you.